Hi, my name is Kathy Utley, and I am the publisher and writer and editor and all kinds of things. The Utley Post. My oldest daughter and my youngest, who is my son, also contribute, and I write. I cover current events, political events, cultural, social sort of things happening either here in Colorado Springs or in the world or in our country. And I try to approach it from a progressive Christian perspective. I try to offer hope and perspective to what's happening in this world right now. I do have a news background. I used to publish my own uh, small tabloid sized newspaper in central Illinois for many, many years, and also wrote for a variety of publications in Illinois. I was primarily a news and feature writer and an editorial writer as well. Um, I have uh, decided to do this over this past year. I joined Substack and the Substack community, and I've just thoroughly enjoyed it and been having a lot of fun and a lot of emotional ups and downs because of. If you would have asked me almost a year ago when I started writing for Substack if this is what I would be writing about, I wouldn't have even imagined. So, um, and that's just the way life is. At my age, I'm going to be 65 soon. You kind of learn after a while that that is just the way life is. So, I hope and pray it doesn't get any worse before it gets better. But I have heard people say that off and on. Cheers. So, with that, I have an interesting angle. So, I am here in Colorado Springs. I do have a little feature called Things That Happen in Colorado. But I decided to, kind of attribute this to the Utley Post, but because it's sort of a little bit of both. And I talk about Colorado Springs all the time. I love it here. Absolutely love it. It is a military town. It has a reputation for a lot of the, the focus on the family is here, so it's got that kind of reputation for being sort of central to the evangelical kind of movement in this country. But it also has, uh, the Olympic and Paralympic headquarters, U.S. headquarters are located here. So it's got that reputation as well. And the other thing, it's Pikes Peak. I mean, and it's the Rocky Mountains. It's absolutely gorgeous. If you have not been to Colorado Springs, please come visit us. It's beautiful here. So, what I'd like to talk to you about today is that mentioning that Colorado Springs is the home to the. I have a little script over here so I don't mess up and say. I kept calling Greg Bovino Dan Bovino, and then I had a spell check on my headline for my other video recording, so I could correct it, but it spell checked it and called him bovine. I consider myself a fairly techie person for a woman my age, but that was just hysterical. You live and you learn, right? So, wow. But anyway, Colorado Springs is home to the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic movement. And so they have confirmed, by the way, oh my God, you're not going to believe this, that ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, will take part in the security operations at the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympics. Apparently, officials say that ICE's role will be limited to diplomatic security and not immigration enforcement. On foreign soil? Why? Apparently, the mayor of Milan has said, nah, no thank you, we don't want you here. Don't blame him or her, I don't even know who it is. Um, but the announcement has already sparked international reaction. Imagine that. The mayor of Milan publicly stated that ICE is not welcome in the city, citing concerns about the agency's reputation and recent events in the United States. Imagine that. Am I making editorial comments literally seconds after these straight news, comments? It's a big no-no, but I don't care anymore. Um, so it's interesting how these two stories kind of intersect. In the last few weeks, of course, we've seen two fatal shootings by these federal agents, one involving ICE, and those incidents have drawn national scrutiny and raised questions about oversight and public trust, if there is any. So now the world is watching as an agency under intense domestic criticism, and it prepares to represent the United States on one of the most visible global stages. I was thinking golden, like the golden ballroom. Weirder than that. But I will have to tell you that it's been really sort of almost peaceful, quiet, and serene here in Colorado Springs. We're a military town. I mean, I don't think we also it tends to be a little bit more conservative, although it's changing. It's getting more and more purple. And recently, at one of the city council meetings, some religious leaders spoke at the council meeting in opposition to what ICE was doing, and they stood their ground and spoke from their hearts and from their moral authority. And there was a city council person that got walked out, and so that's kind of where we're at here. Just to let you know, not our mayor, and he's apparently a great guy. I haven't gotten real involved in local politics here. I've been so focused on the Utley Post and looking at things from a different world, I guess, a different worldview. So, but I did come from that background, by the way, in Illinois and also in Wisconsin. I actually, when I was in Minnesota, I worked for the DFL. I was a fundraiser. So, um, when Ken Martin was the head, I don't know if he still is. I know he's at the DNC now, but and I do not know him, by the way. He doesn't know me from Adam. But when my husband died of COVID, by the way, in the fall of 2020, some friends of mine set up a GoFundMe, and the DFL made a very nice contribution. And they were just really sad to hear what had happened, because my husband had also worked for them temporarily, and people were just heartbroken, that he had passed from COVID. But back to the story. The values of the Olympics stand very juxtaposed, don't they, to what's happening in Minneapolis right now? Think about that. I know you do. Yeah. So the Olympics stand for peaceful competition, human dignity, international cooperation. Um, they are built on the belief that nations can gather in the spirit of unity and excellence and peace and competition in a humane way. Um, so the Olympic community worldwide has said no, thank you. We don't want you there. Don't blame them. Really don't. And I feel really bad because I know people here that, the other cool thing, it might be cool for some people, maybe not so cool for others, but, this is also, if you have a kid that's really into sports, this is the town to be in. They really push and support the sports. And, my granddaughter plays basketball, and there's basketball everywhere. And, people can learn. I remember one time my daughter had gotten the two little girls into a gymnastics class, and literally former Olympians were teaching that class. It just doesn't that doesn't happen anywhere else. I've gone to another my other granddaughter. We were kind of for self esteem building, self defense stuff. We had gotten her involved in a boxing classes here, and there were former Olympians, like, teaching kids, little kids, like, boxing, and I watched this, like, little girl box in the ring with I think it was a boy she was I mean, she was tough. It's just a really cool atmosphere here. So I think that, it would be counter to the spirit of the Olympics to have ice there, really, to be quite honest. I mean, kind of feels a little bit like the Olympics that year. I mean, I'm the last person to evoke, the name of Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime because, I think I've mentioned in previous posts that my father was Ashkenazi. He was raised in Orthodox Judaism. He was a World War II hero, veteran in the European German theater. He was a Jewish American who went over to fight the Nazis and to fight fascism. And he told us lots of stories. And I can tell you, just kind of growing up in Reform Judaism, because my mother's not Jewish, by the way, um, uh, you know, we would hear the stories, and you learned a lot about the Holocaust, and never again, right? And my father also, I think I've shared in some of my posts, like his family was also very, very, they were, my father was not a Zionist, by the way, but many people in his family were, and they were, I mean, he supported Israel, you know, but I think he would be very heartbroken to see what was happening also to the Palestinian people. Uh, he passed many years, 20 years ago, but he would not. Uh, that would break his heart. Anyway, but many people in his family were instrumental in the formation of the state of Israel. So it's a bittersweet thing. I've mentioned, you know, but so I do digress a little bit here, but I don't like to invoke the whole Hitler thing because that's you know it was a very tragic, sad thing, and we make light of it. I think sometimes by doing that. But I think in this case, it does remind me. I mean, if Trump goes to those Olympics or if anybody from his administration, it has that eerie kind of feeling. Um, but anyway, um, so I also have friends here who are d- directly involved in the Olympics and are going to Milan. And as a matter of fact, we met a wonderful person who's become a friend a lady who is the team captain for the figure skating, U.S. Olympic figure skating. And, I met her through some kind of a business connection. She didn't really get political, but I will guarantee you, just knowing her heart and her character and her beautiful personality, that she was picked as a team captain for a reason. She's got that kind of leadership qualities that I showing up to be um, their diplomatic security um, would not be welcomed. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, they're trying to keep the uh, spirit of the Olympics and the morale and motivate these U.S. Olympic athletes, and I think that would be counterproductive, honestly, for people's. You know, I also wonder too if there's going to be almost a strong, not opposition because that's not what the games are about, but I don't know how America shows up in this world anymore, right? Uh, so anyway, and whether do our institutions, kind of reflect our values, and uh, you know, and I think our athletes carry one of when they walk out in that march, and my friend's going to be there too. When they're carrying that American flag and they're wearing those Olympic outfits, how are they going to feel about representing this country right now? And what an odd coincidence that Renee Nicole Good would literally be from Colorado Springs. So, and that Alex Preddy was an ICU nurse at the VA hospital in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where my husband got treatment right before moving here. And he actually got a false negative on his COVID test. And when he got here on September 1st of 2020, he died September 17th in the ICU here of COVID pneumonia. He was 53 years old. And when I saw that Alex Preddy had worked there, I'm wondering, I thought about the ICU nurses here at the hospital where my husband passed and the care that he was given. And then I think about he had gotten a lot of treatment at the VA hospital in Minneapolis. And I always wonder if he ever met him or saw him. They know each other now. They're in heaven together, huh? So I never did. There was a story I want to finish. There was a woman who was interviewed. She was on her that morning when Alex Preddy had been shot and killed, executed, in my opinion, after watching all the different viewpoints. I can't believe I'm just saying it like matter of factly. There was a woman who was on her way to church. She was walking to church, and great neighborhood. And she saw the commotion. She went over and she saw his dead body. She was interviewed, she said, and there was blood everywhere. She said it was awful. And her first thought after all that horrific shock and tragedy, she said, my first thought was, I hope he went right to heaven. Folks, that's Minneapolis. Those are the good people of Minneapolis. And let's bring that to the Olympics, right? Let's bring that spirit to the Olympics. Not ice. No. No. So I am going to sign off here. I am going to say goodbye. I'm going to say thank you. I'm going to say subscribe to the Outly Post, free or paid. I don't paywall anything, by the way, because I write a lot about the good news and scripture and stuff. I want to spread the good news. I don't want people to, but I do have paid subscribers, and they're wonderful. I do write some nonfiction as well, or fictional. Excuse me. I write some fictional science fiction story I'm working on called The Red Horizon, and several of my paid subscribers love that storyline, and it's a lot of fun to write that. So I'm going to continue doing that, and my daughter loves my logo, the Red Horizon, the Utley Post one where the woman is writing on you can see in the window in the background, the Pikes Peak, the Rocky Mountains. My daughter, when I showed it to her, she says, "Oh, Mom, that's so Murder, She Wrote." I do sort of feel like that Angela Lansbury character. So anyway, I'm going to bid you adieu. I have my husband's picture and his flag. He was in the U.S. Navy for 6 years. was a good man. He was from the Caribbean originally. He was an American, an immigrant, proud to be an American, so proud to be an American that he said, I want to give back. And one of the ways that I could give back to this country is by serving in the military. And so he served for 6 years in the Navy. So we were very, very proud of him. And he is, portion of his remains are actually in the military. They have a beautiful cemetery here, and he is buried there. So anyway, I'm being very old lady by just kind of rambling on, but that's what makes the Atlee Post unique. It's just I'm just a real person. Um, so subscribe, share, and support the work that I do. My daughter, she's going into criminal investigation. My son is the historian. Very interesting point of view. He and his partner Tim are living in Vermont. I call them my Green Mountain Boys, and we all get together and unfortunately talk about what's going on in the country we love. So, with that, goodbye, good luck, God bless you, from the bottom of our hearts, from the Atlee Post.